I'm Ted Keys, your host and top freight agent training expert here in Southern California. This topic comes from my 30 plus years of business, sales, and freight moving success. Watch, learn, and apply it. You'll move more freight efficiently, effectively, effortlessly, and make more money financially. And call me at 626-309-9141 with any questions. Now explode your business with...
Hello and welcome everybody to my Tuesday conference call. I'm Ted Keys, your host and top freight agent training expert here in Southern California. Today I'll show you how to move more freight efficiently, effectively, and effortlessly so you make more money financially. And after the call today, go to my website, tedkeysonline.com, to hear more of my podcasts, read more of my blog posts, watch more of my videos, and while you're there, visit my Freight Sales Success Store for top-notch freight moving products to explode your business today. And if you have any questions today, any questions regardless of what it is, or specifically, are you ready for my top producing one-on-one personal freight sales, freight broker training? Then give me a call, Ted Keys. I'm at 626-309-9141. Today's training topic is ask these question types to your freight prospects. Ask these question types to your freight prospects. So for those of you that are on my email contact list, you did receive, or you would have received an email invite to my call today. Just scroll on down to any one of those invites that I sent you, and we're going to go over those 7 attachments that I provided. Again, those 7 attachments free of charge when you get on my email contact list. Just go ahead and open that first one, and we're going to go over today. Ask these question types to your freight prospects. Ask these question types to your freight prospects. You're going to find out as you get better and better in this profession. There are 3 main types of questions. 3 main types of questions to not only ask but to deal with as you talk to your freight prospects. The questions that we're going to talk about, you're going to continually, as you, depending on the type of engagement that you're going into and depending on the responses that you get from your prospects, you're going to ask these different question types, of which I will go over. So for those of you, again, that are on my contact list, just scroll to the bottom, open up that first attachment, and we're going to go over ask these question types to your freight prospects. So let me start off by saying, guys, that top-notch freight sales agents, they must understand the many, many challenges of their freight prospects and their future customers as you build that relationship with them. And you certainly won't know everything there is to know about them, regardless of the research that you've done on them. Remember how important that research is that you do before you make that first call. But knowing their pain points, knowing those pain points allows you to better plan your solutions and letting them do most of the talking. Again, that's so important. Let them do most of the talking. It's always going to give your connections a successful advantage that will be in your favor. So to get the answers, again, when you make those calls for the first time, your objective is to get answers and to get the answers that you require so you can actually offer the best freight solutions. Ask these 3 types of open-ended questions to your freight prospects. The first question is a needs-based question. The first question is what we call a needs-based question. As I said earlier, okay, you've got to be well educated already on your freight prospects before your first call, and you'll still have a lot more to learn about them even after you make that first call. So focus first on asking questions that actually pinpoint their dominant freight buying motivations. What exactly are their motivations to buy? Not only that, but what's going to be their motivation to work with you and allow you to move their freight? Now these motivations, they include basic requirements, obviously, but they also pertain to their desires, their feelings, and the particular taste they have as well. Hey, you might find out that your freight prospect likes using blue trucks instead of red trucks. So what does that do? Well, you know, it's possible that they're not going to like using CR England, and they're going to like using roads west out of Arizona. Now, very few prospects will get that particular, but I'm just giving you an example of their desires or feelings and the taste they have as well. But you're only going to find that out as you ask them their needs-based questions. So determine what requirements your freight service fulfills for your freight prospects, so to create a list of needs-based questions before your actual sales call. Again, do that research, do that required research that you've got to go in there, you've got to do research so you can actually ask these questions before you actually make contact. And once you've listed the requirements, work backwards. You know, start at the beginning, go backwards, and figure out what to ask your freight prospects to find out if your freight service actually solves their shipping challenges. As you ask each question, let them do the talking. Oh, how important it is. Ask the question, close your mouth, let them do the talking, and really listen to their replies rather than just thinking about what you're going to ask next. So here's a needs-based example that I've come up with, and this is after asking a series of questions. You determine that, okay, this is what you've determined. Your freight prospect requires lift gates. Of all things, they require lift gates for their loads on long hauls across the U.S. So can you get the trucks fulfilling their need? So here's a needs-based solution that you've come up with after you've asked a lot of questions. Hey, this prospect requires lift gates. Now, there's a high probability that you don't have to ask a lot of questions when they have a requirement like this. Why? Because if you got long hauls that require lift gates, this is a continual challenge, okay? Why? Because this is a specialty type haul. Not every dry van out there, in fact, most dry vans do not have lift gates on them, okay? But here's the important thing. You asked a series of questions where you've determined, hey, this prospect requires lift gates. Now, the only question is this a specialty of yours? If not, good probability, or there's a high probability that you may move on, or hey, this guy has a lot of loads moving, I'm going to find him lift gates. So there is a needs-based question. The answer is the prospect does let you know, hey, this is my need. My need is I've got these long hauls that require lift gates. Can you fulfill that need? That is a needs-based question that you found the answer to. Number 2 are benefit-driven freight questions. Benefit-driven freight questions. Before you start rattling off, and again, this is when you've gotten a hold of your freight prospect, before you start rattling off the features that your freight service offers, be sure that your freight prospect's unique situation actually calls for your features that drive your benefits. See, all of us have benefits associated with our freight service. When you're able to focus on selling benefits rather than features, you spotlight your freight prospects along with their unique challenges. Those are what go along with benefit-driven freight questions. So, pose your questions around these challenges or those challenges that your freight prospect is actually facing, and which benefits would effectively provide for their freight solutions. You can develop a good set of benefit-driven questions before the call by listing every feature of your freight service and then noting the matching benefit that goes along with it. To determine benefits, just ask, what will my freight benefit prospect X here do for him? Okay? I mean, basically, do my benefits actually take care of, fulfill what he's looking for? So here's a benefit-based example, all right? I gave you an example for the needs-based. Here's a benefit-based example. Your prospect as recurring freight lanes from Memphis, Tennessee, where there's typically a ton of outbound freight. Okay, Memphis, Tennessee, go there anytime. There's a ton of outbound freight. Typically, when you're talking to a carrier that has a truck in Memphis, Tennessee, they're typically going to want $3 to $4 a mile getting out of there. Why? Because there's always more freight than trucks. Now, your prospect has outbound freight from Memphis, Tennessee, and of all places, it's going to Minot, North Dakota, where there's little outbound freight. If you know where Minot, North Dakota is, it's in the upper left-hand corner of the state of North Dakota. Farming town. I mean, I don't like to say this about it, but it's out in the middle of nowhere. Yes, there is a big army base there, but it's a place where a lot of freight going in, very little freight coming out. Now, it just so happens that you have a prospect searching for trucks to do loads out of Minot. You've got this one prospect that actually has freight out of Minot, and it has to go to Memphis. That is a benefit that you can provide. Not only can you provide it to your prospect that has loads out of Memphis, now you're putting together benefits for your prospect from Minot to Memphis. That is a benefit. That's a benefit that you provide. And again, you're only going to find this out when you ask your prospect a series of questions. Not only that, but you research them first. Ask them a series of questions. I mean, really get down to the nitty-gritty and say, hey, I've got trucks coming out of Minot that are going back to Memphis that can do either a round trip for you or just get your loads from Memphis to Minot, to the other prospect from Minot to Memphis. That is a benefit-driven that is something that you have that's benefit driven, but you're only gonna figure this out after you ask them a series of questions. And again, I provide these questions for you, these series of questions on my sales call information sheet, which is included in my Freight Sales Success Guide. So the first questions we have are they're needs-based questions. The second questions we have are benefit-driven freight questions. The third type of question we have are objection-based questions. They're objection-based freight questions. Now, no sales call will feel consultative if you respond to objections with a rehearsed set of responses. I mean, it's just that simple. Your goal is not to outmaneuver your freight prospect, but to learn how to ask questions that relate to the most common freight objections you'll get, and you're going to get objections. I mean, this is one of the main things that I go over when I take you through my freight sales training, and that is I guarantee you that as you make contact with the marketplace, you will get objections, especially in those early calls. Your freight prospects will give you objections. The question is, will you respond correctly with the proper responses to their objections? And tighter, guys. So here are some objection-based examples that freight sales agents always hear. If you've been in the profession, you hear these all the time. If you're just starting, you are going to hear these all the time. I'm just going to give you 3 objections. First one is, I want to think about it. All right, that's an objection. Second one is, your price is too high. Third one is, I have to talk to my boss. All standard objections that you're going to hear in this profession. So to counter these hiccups, all right, and yeah, they're just little hiccups. They're just objections. You know, why are they giving them to you? Hey, who knows? Maybe the prospect senses you're inexperienced, or this is what they say all the time to attempt to get you off the phone. But when you get these objections, ask questions, ask these objection-related questions that relate to their objections. Now, here's an example, all right? When you get these objections, what type of processes do you use to move your freight, all right? What type of processes do you use? Now, these objections may not go hand in hand with the objections that I just gave you, but these are some examples of objections that you're going to ask. What type of budget do you have to move your freight? All right, that's another response to an objection. What type of system do you have in place to move your freight? The most common one that I teach you is this. Do you keep your options open to additional carriers or additional brokers? That's and I say this because the objections that you get are typically objections that are attempting to say, hey, I'm good, I don't require you. Here's your response to those objections. When you get them, do you keep your options open to additional carriers or brokers? Getting to the root of these common objections from the start, again from the start, assists you to better execute your sales strategy and avoid those more difficult roadblocks further down the line. Here's what I have to say in concluding this whole topic here, guys. Asking the right questions is a must. So you provide your freight prospects with the solutions they truly require, but it's not just the questions that are important, okay? It's not just the questions that you throw back to your prospects. The various methods, okay? It's so important. The various methods that you listen and respond to your prospects' answers will determine right down, to the bottom line whether they view you as a valuable business partner or just another freight sales agent attempting to hit their goals. So important. Whatever questions you're asking, ask them. Close your mouth. When you close your mouth and you write down, the challenges that your prospects are having, that's when they will see value in you. Not that you're just running amok and running your mouth through the whole conversation. Ask the questions, close your mouth, write them down, then come up with viable solutions. Remember, it's always, always, always about them. It's never, never, never about you until they give you the opportunity to move their freight. Then it becomes you, because then it's when you offer your solutions. So again, just in quick review, question types to your freight prospects. The first is needs-based freight questions. Second are benefit-driven freight questions. Third are objection-based freight questions. Remember, do your research first, get a hold of the shipping decision makers, ask them questions based on the response. You're going to figure out what type of, where you're going to go from there by asking them needs, benefit, or objection-based questions. So important. Great topic today. Again, my topic is ask these question types to your freight prospects. Ask these 3 question types to your freight prospects. And wrapping up my call today, I'll ask it again. If you have any questions about what I just went over today, or more importantly, are you ready to join our top producing freight sales team? Then give me, Ted Keys, a call. I'm at 626-309-9141. Obviously, you found the interest to gain value on this call today. Thanks for joining me today on my Tuesday conference call. Been a pleasure talking to you. I'll be back again next Tuesday, same time, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Take care. God bless. I'll see you all again next week on my Tuesday conference call. Bye-bye. When you arrive at my Freight Sales Success Store today, you'll see a host of products available there for purchase. First one you'll see available is my flagship product. That is my Freight Sales Success Guide, typically for beginner and struggling freight agents. If you're searching for that daily motivation to set goals, to achieve them, to pick up the phone daily and connect and build relationships with the marketplace, then opt for my Freight Sales Success Quotes. And if you're searching for those specific skills, and there are many skills, many individual skills required to be successful in this profession, then opt for my Freight Sales Success Skill. I highly recommend each one of these products, available for purchase today in my Freight Sales Success Store. Do you have any questions again? Do you have any questions about today's call? Or more importantly, are you ready for my top producing one-on-one personal freight sales, freight broker training? then give me, Ted Keys, a call. I'm at 626-309-9141. Great topic for today. Take these skills, apply them. You'll be amazed at what happens to your results.